Alright, let's go ahead and continue with creating this infographic. Now we kind of got the basic layout here, and we just want to go ahead and start adding the information and the graphics that we will be using. So we can go ahead and turn back on our guides and our grids. I'll go ahead and do the guide so we can see what it looks like here. And like I said, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections, and then some information down here at the bottom can just be our website address or URL or what have you. So go ahead and create a new layer, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a basic circle here, and I can make this, I might want to divide this up. We can always move this around. That's a great thing about this, but let me turn on my grid. I'm going to zoom in here. And I'm just going to make a circle, and snapping is on. So we maybe do something like that. And then I'm going to pick the foreground color, and with the color picker selected, I can pick that red color, and I can fill in that circle. Oh, didn't have foreground selected. Edit, fill, make sure foreground color is selected. Okay. And then what we're going to do is I am going to turn these off so we can see this. Deselect. And then I'm going to add a drop shadow to this. So down here in the layers with the layer selected, I'm just going to click on this and I'm going to pick drop shadow. And basically you can change the angle that the drop shadow is coming from. So I want the light coming from the top left, and I want to make it a little harder, so I bring the size in so it's not so feathered, and I don't need it spread a whole lot, and just bring the distance in so it's just got this very little bit of drop shadow, and that just kind of gives it a 3D effect, like it's standing away from the rest of the text. Now I'm going to go ahead and add another layer here, and I'm going to create another circle. This one I'll just make a little smaller. I'm going to fill it. And then I'm going to take a rectangle, start at the top of this circle, and move it to where it fills in with this circle here. Probably about right there. Oop, what did I do? There we go. I think I stroked it and didn't fill it in. And redo that. I might need to trim this off a little bit. It looks like, see how it's not really aligning just as I want it there. So I might actually need to I can take an eraser. I can do this a couple different ways, but the easiest way is to just kind of erase those points a little bit and kind of blend that in. Let me do a hard eraser. And I could take my time and make this as perfect, but just showing you some ideas of some different things that we could do here. So I've got this kind of graphic set up here. I want to add that same drop shadow to this layer and move this layer below the layer we created before. So now we got kind of this 3D effect going on both layers, but this one looks like it's sitting on top of this one. And basically we're just going to do this and set this one up, and then we can duplicate this on down, and that's going to just give us that uniform kind of look that we're going for. let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, so this is working out all right. And then I might have to go and adjust this title and everything, move it up a little bit because it's getting a little too close to where we originally wanted this. But let's go ahead and group these two together. So I'm going to select those two layers and hit Control G, and it's going to put those in a group. And then I'm going to add some text. Make sure I have the white selected, and I'll type in here step 1. And we can, I'll make sure that I'm grabbing just the text there and not the whole group. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to click on that text. Why is it not selecting just the text for me here? Let's move that text out of the group for a second. I know there's a shortcut key that'll allow you to do that, but I forget what it is. So I just move it out of the group, stick it up there. I can center it, move it around. Maybe I want it centered. Maybe I want it off to the left. You can just kind of mess around with it and see how it looks. It might look cool over here too. For now, I'm just going to put right here in the center and see how that looks. I'm going to move that back down into the group. And then I can just click on the group, and I can drag that down and duplicate it. So now we have a copy of that group. Let me turn on my guides here, and then I'm just going to hold shift and hit the arrow keys, and I can move that down into the next section. And then I can do that, you know, the 5 times to get that exactly how I want that to look. So let's go ahead and move the next one. And then the next one. And then the next one. Okay, so now we have kind of the layout going here that we like. And we want to change the colors on these. And of course the text. So I'll go back to that first group, and I'm going to click on step 1, use the text tool, and change that to step 2. And I can do that with all these. Now if I go back to the layers that we created with the graphics, I can add another effects. And this time what I'm going to do is a color overlay, and this is going to change the color of everything on that layer. Now as you can see, we have white selected, and we want to make luminosity normal. So the blend mode should be normal, 100% on the opacity, and then just pick the color that we want to pick. So I choose a color, and then I can go up here and select that blue color that we went with before, and I can do that on this layer. Color overlay, and I wish it would keep the information that we want, but it doesn't, but that's okay. So now I can just go through and do this with every group here. So I'm just going to do that real fast so we can see what this looks like. Step 3. Nope. Didn't mean to add another one there. Let me go ahead and delete this and change this out to step 3. Layer, color overlay, normal. And there's different ways you could go about creating these. You could fill them, you could create them each from scratch if that's faster, you know, whatever works best. Like I said, I'm just trying to show you some of the basics of how you could create some different infographics. This is one that's pretty simple, and it just provides some steps, but it just has some uniformity and is visually appealing for people to read. So this one's not too complicated. You can make these a lot more complicated, and just by looking at some of the ones that we had before, you know that they can get pretty complicated. You can even make them 3D if you know how to use 3D applications. So okay, step 4, and let's go ahead and change out the color here. Color overlay. Pick that orange color. Layer 2. Color overlay. And then pick that orange color again. Oh, what happened with that first one? Something I didn't pick. I must have had. Yeah, luminosity. Make sure you set that to normal. And you'd want to put the opacity to 100. I'm just skipping that step for now because I just want to show you the basics here. Okay, we're almost here. Let me go ahead and choose this one. Step 5. Okay, and go ahead and move up here so we can color pick these. Effects, color overlay, normal, green. Okay, so that looks pretty good, and of course we probably want to space these out and move some things around. It looks like it's a little cramped up, so let's go ahead and add in some text real quick, and we can duplicate that. Might want to do the text when you do the first group so that you can duplicate it out very easily, but basically I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to write some text. Okay, so me. So this would be the main text of whatever it is that we're talking about. And, you know, of course you'd want to mess around with this and make this look good, but again, I'm just trying to do this very quickly so you can see how it looks here. And I'd probably definitely do this step whenever we create that first group so I don't have to come in here and individually move these again, but that's okay. When doing this on my own for my business, I would probably spend a lot more time on it than I am now. But this is just a little tutorial, a little quick course. Give you some ideas, maybe try to get some of that creative juices flowing inside just so you can come up with some good ideas on your own. Okay, and then the last thing we want to do is we want to add that little website at the end. So let me add some text here. Because I always want to have, you know, the branding going on, and then I'll probably take all these and just move them down, space them out a little bit. So since they're all grouped, I just grabbed them together and put them in like that. Let me move these down. Just get the spacing to look a little better. Maybe something like that. And then, you know, depending on the text, I might space this out, move it around, do some different things. And then one other thing you can do is you could put some icons in here if you wanted to just add a little more flair to it. So basically, if I go down to the Creative Cloud application with Photoshop, I click on that, and then it'll open up this application here, and I just type in icon under the assets category, and it's going to give me a bunch of different icons that I can use. And you can download this straight to your Creative Cloud account, and then click on the little toolbar at the top and click on Creative Cloud Files. It'll open up the document where it actually downloads all your Creative Cloud files, and I can come in here and I can click on icon elements, and then I can open that up with Photoshop, it'll bring that into my Photoshop file. And then what this does is it's got a bunch of icons on one document that I can use to drag over. So these are counted in groups of 8. So it's I think it's 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. So basically, let's see, if I wanted, say, this folder here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's the 5th one over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me just see. Yeah, that's the one. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to left click, hold it down, and bring it over into my document. I'm going to drop it. I can move it here on my circle. And then same as before, effects, color overlay, and then we can make that, yeah, make sure I got the right thing going on here. I want to see it. Oh yeah, okay, it's working. Just want to make sure it was working there. So we can go in there and add icons to these little circles that we made and just get those centered up. I don't like that one. I'll probably go in and change that. But basically, you can use those icons to just add a little more to this step. So that is how you would make a basic infograph inside of Photoshop. Hopefully that gives you some ideas. Use consistent colors throughout the whole thing so it ties everything together. Use consistent fonts. Use consistent icons. You know, don't use this type of icon and then pull in different icons that don't match. You want to have everything consistent and similar, and it just creates a nice visual appealing look to the infographic. But that's one way that you could create an infographic inside of Photoshop.